My name's Nick. I'm a data scientist. My first ayahuasca ceremony was 3 years ago. CK invited me to that. When he invited me to this, I thought, all right, I think I'd like to do it again. The first time was one of the most incredible and terrifying experiences of my life. Like it just felt like it was like a preview of what it's like to be dead or something, or like just to not exist or to not worry about whether I exist, and like to had this feeling of just being the entire universe. And it was this just this incredible sense of like new perspective and like new questions and just like all these different sort of angles. My kind of big questions is like, one, what are my fears? What are the things that I'm really afraid of? Why am I afraid of those things? And why am I afraid of those fears? Like, I'm unable a lot of times to dig into that stuff because the fears protect themselves with like more layers. It's like this recursive thing where the fear just kind of spirals up out of nothing and creates itself. And so I'm interested in that a little bit, but I'm not sure how dark and deep I want to dig. Like, that can get pretty scary, especially like during the ceremony. It can get really intense. So we'll see sort of how far I'm prepared to go on that. I mean, my intention for this weekend is to examine where my idea of me comes from. Last night I experienced, I'd say, real fear for the first time. My intention was to let go and really surrender to the experience more so than I did last night, and more so than I did in my previous ceremony 3 years ago. And boy, so I surrendered, and it took me through the stuff that I'd already been through that I had been clinging to previously, and I went straight past that, and it took me straight to something that I was not ready to surrender to. It took me straight to, it got so loud and so bright, and I didn't recognize it really until this morning when I was able to go back through it. But it was really just love that was being poured at me, and I wasn't ready. I was afraid of it. I felt unworthy of it, and my response to it was fear, and I was so afraid of it that I didn't feel like I was getting blasted with love. I felt like I was being blasted with hate. I felt like I was meeting something that wanted to destroy me, but it wanted to help me, it wanted to heal me, and I wasn't ready, and I was fighting it. But I couldn't fight it. It was everywhere, right? I mean, there's nowhere I can go to escape that love, but I'm running away from it, and it's on the walls, and it's in my eyes, and I've never been more afraid. And I was sitting there, and I just, like, everything that I use to protect myself, right? All of my ideas and all of my tools and all my mantras and all that stuff, it abandoned me. It wasn't there. I was stripped away. There was nothing left. Afterwards, it felt like the hero's journey when the sword and the shield have been broken and the hero is in the cave with nothing. And I'm just naked and alone. And like, where do I go? And that's what I learned about myself, is like, when I take away all the ideas that I use to protect myself and all my rationalizations and all my mantras and all that stuff, what's left is, what's my gut response? How do I react to the unknown? How do I react to a situation I'm not ready for? And right now the answer is fear. And that's what I want to change. I want to replace that. I want to automatically respond with trust. I want to automatically respond with love and with acceptance and with surrender. Right now, trust and love and surrender, they're ideas that I can think about and I can work through, but they're not my habit yet. And that's what I really learned, and that's what I want to take away from this, and that's what I want to start building.
What kind of person do you think would benefit from doing something like this?
I think anybody who is really serious about improving themselves, somebody who, if you're the kind of person who thinks like, I am ready to ask the hard questions, I am ready to be terrified, I am ready to look into the face of God and see madness and be obliterated, if you think that sounds great, right? If you think, yes, obliterate me and see what's left, if you want to be completely torn apart and then in the morning pick your pieces back up and put yourself back together, like, if that sounds like an amazing learning experience for you that you're ready for, then I would say do it. But there's no way that you'll know you're ready. You just have to decide. You have to decide that you don't know if you're ready, and that's okay. That's the only way. Like, I know people do a lot of research, and they read books, and they watch documentaries, and it's like, I can't describe it to you, right?
Is there a practical value, would you say? What's the value?
I mean, the value is, I would say, to my mind, what the what the medicine does basically is it goes in your brain and it amplifies your metaphors. It amplifies the pattern part of your brain. And so you see all these patterns, right? But you're also making all of these connections between different ideas, which is patterns too. You're saying this is the same thing as this, right? And so you see the patterns and you feel the patterns, and so everything starts to feel like everything else, and everything feels very connected, and you have this feeling of oneness. But then as you go deeper, you realize that the patterns aren't coming from outside. You're not seeing the universe's patterns. You're seeing your own patterns, right? You're seeing the shape of your own brain, because the way that your brain is encoded is with analogies, with metaphors, and with patterns. What you are, what you believe, is all the patterns that you use, right? And so when you go really deep in the medicine, what it shows you about your mind is it shows you the metaphors and the stories that you used in your own life. And when you see those very clearly, it becomes obvious which of those are not working for you, which of those don't make sense, right? I mean, it doesn't really do anything except show you yourself.
How do you feel about the group?
I mean, the group was amazing, and I don't think there's anything more important than having a good group, because I have never been more vulnerable in my entire life, ever, right? And so you need to be in a situation where you really believe that these people have your best interest at heart. You really believe that these people are here to protect you, or here to love you, or not here to judge you, you know, that they are there for you, right? And I sat last night, and one of the things, the last thing I wrote down before I sat down for the second ceremony was, I realized that I wasn't ready to accept help. That the first ceremony, last night I sat down and I was looking at Malcolm the healer, and I was like, why do we need a healer? Like, I'll be okay. I can handle myself, you know? And it's like, no, not if you want to really do this work. You're gonna, if you really want to do this, you have to find the thing that you can't handle yourself. That's where we're going, right? If you want to be able to handle yourself, then you're going to have to just keep that shit locked away, right? The stuff that you really want to get rid of, the stuff that's preventing you from becoming that person that you're not, that you want to be, that's the stuff that you really don't want to get rid of, and that without it, you're going to feel like you're going to fall apart.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.